Hey Ratbags, today giving you a bit of a lowdown on what's happening with Ark lately. It's been promising a engine upgrade that would help with performance, especially on consoles. Now this actual upgrade's been promised for nearly a year, originally encompassing some of the earlier Unreal Engine 5 upgrades, but now fast forwarded to the latest one, 5.5. And of course, Ark and Wildcard being the devs they are, they've gone and delayed it a couple times, and today another delay. Now there are some positives with this delay and some new features coming to Ark Survival Ascended, but there's also something that I think is pretty underhand. They're doing the usual of selling a DLC pass now so they can claw some money in by offering you some fear of missing out items ahead of its actual Lost Colony DLC that's meant to arrive in November later on this year. And just another sign that Wildcard are just desperate for money. So let's get into everything that's been revealed in the last few weeks. So instead of arriving at some point before the 15th of May, they'd set themselves a 4-week deadline. It's now been pushed back till June the 2nd. Supposedly this upgrade is going to remain their top priority with their core engineering resources focused on bringing it over the finish line. The patch that rolls out with the upgrade will provide immediate performance benefits including enhanced rendering and faster load times, also restructuring how the game is packaged so that non-island maps become optional downloads, basically reducing the size of the game if you want it to. So that's all good stuff, but yeah, this has been promised for ages and ages and ages. From all accounts, the latest update 5.5 is not that great. Lots of bugs, lots of issues. So Wildcard just jumping straight into it, skipping effectively previous versions, doesn't really bode well. There's also another negative, depending on how you look at it, with mods now actually having to have a bit of a pause. They'll be temporarily pausing new mod uploads and updates starting May the 20th. After that date, no new mods or updates will be available until after the 5.5 patch is live. So that's nearly 2 weeks, hopefully meaning no more issues or problems with updates. So you could look at that as a bad thing, since it means a bunch of mods won't necessarily be able to fix anything that's arisen in the most recent weeks. And given the amount of problems and issues with a lot of the mods running in Ark, that could be a major issue. However, as pointed out by Nerdsky, one of my ratbags, it could also be a good thing, because it means that modders will know they have to really get their stuff sorted by May the 20th, gives a cut-off line for people to work to make sure their mods are in the best condition possible, and might even provide a bit of breathing space for any modders who maybe just want to wait until 5.5 comes out. Of course, this June is going to be 10 years of Ark as a franchise, released back in June 2015, originally on PC and then on Xbox 5-6 months later in December, and then of course PlayStation in December 2016. We know there's going to be some skullduggery with their absolute god-awful DLC that they're now releasing on the original Ark Survival Evolved, a blatant rip-off of Subnautica. If you'd somehow missed this going on, despite them shutting down official servers, ceasing all support for the previous version of Ark, they suddenly come out with this, a paid expansion, supposedly coming out this June to celebrate its 10th anniversary, but of course, yeah, it's a paid expansion for the old game. And again, if you somehow missed this, they promoted this with a AI generated trailer and the world's most awful actual gameplay snippets, highlighting just what a horrible thing this will end up being, not condoned or actually made by the original Ark Wild team. Supposedly a Snail Games, their publisher initiative again, but nevertheless still tarnishing the reputation of Ark as a franchise. And before I move on to something a bit more contentious, I think, there are probably a couple of bright spots, depending again how you look at it. Astrius, their literally 40% finished DLC, that won't be actually complete until the end of next year by the earliest, has got one of its major first content drops, Lemnokis content, adding a brand new island, new biomes, snowy redwoods, warm redwoods, valleys, forests, and bigger and smaller building caves. So it's going to have a brand new mini boss, 2 massive boars that attack you with fire and poisonous gas, and there's going to be new ocean areas that have deep sea areas full of resources in a place called the Maelstrom out far into the sea. This sounds good of course, but it's only for people that have gone ahead and bought the actual DLC, which literally costs as much as previous DLCs that Ark did officially themselves. And I don't know, it still just doesn't sit with me right that we're paying early access prices for incomplete DLC with no definitive finish time. So this update I'm sure will be good for players that really enjoy actual Astrius, but again, not really anything new for players that have been supporting the game for 10 years. That was until I realised they are adding a bunch of building pieces, and this is kind of cool. It looks like they've raided some popular mod sets again to produce and deliver a whole bunch of new additions and pieces. Thatch is now getting an absolute ton of new things like half beams, quarter roofs, shallow sloped walls. Wood, stone and metal are also getting some similar pieces, and across the board with all of their DLC skin packs too, like the Frontier, Steampunk and Wasteland, also receiving very similar same pieces. So that's great for builders out there. More choice without having to use a specific mod, which there's been plenty of that add this kind of stuff. But wait, there's more. An egg incubator. Again, I thought this was something that was in the game already. I think I was mixing it up with the gene selector potentially from one of the latest DLCs for Ark Survival Ascended. But we're guessing that this incubator is going to do a smarter job so that you can actually have your eggs pop out, time in it and stuff, instead of maybe just waiting around or checking the timers yourself for the individual eggs that you've dropped. We've had similar kind of things like the nanny update in the past that would do it, and there's been new creatures that would also help with your tames. But again, this is something that's been hugely popular in the modding scene for years. So what it says to me is that Wildcard are desperately trying to claw back any kind of player base to hopefully boost their numbers all around their update. Try and make Ark actually relevant. It's lost over 50% of its player base since it came out in 2023. Reportedly having over 450,000 players logging in on a daily basis. Now that's reduced down to only 200 something. Despite all the stuff they've been doing, like paid microtransactions, more season passes than you can count, and so many paid half-baked unfinished mods, they're still not making enough money, it seems, despite their yearly reports showing that they are actually for once in profit. There will be some anniversary content, which again looks pretty lackluster. A birthday surprise cake, suit shirt and suit pants. And maybe something actually decent, create, restore and auto-generate backups across all platforms. Ark has always been a bit iffy, not having multiple saves, always having to use the same character. So that still looks to be the case, but at least now you'll be able to go ahead and reload if your favourite dinosaur ends up getting eaten. Also going to be some more shenanigans with their Club Ark, their mini games hub, and of course with the delay of Unreal Engine upgrade 5.5, it means that Ragnarok Ascended, the remake of one of the most popular maps in Ark Survival Evolved, is now only going to be arriving on June the 18th. Of course it comes with the brand new bison, breedable griffins for the first time despite community wanting it for absolutely years. But yeah, a delay, but definitely something a lot of fans are going to be eager to play since it will be actually free. But this is where all that good stuff turns to a little bit of shit. Lost Colony Expansion Pass Day 0 content. Lost Colony won't be out until November. But of course, that's not good enough for Wildcard to generate any kind of sales or previews sales at the moment. So they're doing the usual, going to sell some bullshit, content pass, season pass, entice and tease you with a couple things that will come now, and then you'll be able to go ahead and get the map and all the rest of it when it arrives in November. It's such an underhand tactic, asking players to effectively fear of missing out, buy these things which I'm sure end up being OP, without actually seeing what the rest of the map's going to actually play or look like, carrying on with their mantra of tease and hype without actually being able to show players something until it actually arrives. Remember, this Lost Colony DLC is going to be £29.99 or $30, whatever the weather, and now you're being asked to pony up for it ahead of time just to take advantage of some stupid small little things that I'm sure will end up being very baity. So that's, in my opinion, what's going on with Ark at the moment. Ragnarok was a fan favourite, and behind the centre map I actually thought it was one of the best maps going. So I'm intrigued as usual. The lure of Ark still is there deep in me. I'd like to see definitely what they've done with the remake and the remaster. But yeah, that's not going to be coming out now until the 18th. So you never know, you may see me start up some new Ark here on my main channel. No more extra channel for Ark content. We'll just have to wait and see how it goes. But I certainly won't be showing off the Astrius update. I'm not into promoting half-finished mods. So yeah, let me know. Some of that sound exciting? Are you happy there's lots of build pieces? What do you think about the possibility of having to pony up now for a season pass that you won't actually receive the bulk of the gameplay until November? If we get any more details on that, I'm sure I'll probably deliver it in a critical fashion. And yeah, until next time, RATBAGGERS, I'll catch you later.